Yeah, I'm very excited to see emulator. That's my platform of choice, so it's cool to see it represented here in the tournament.
Yeah, super fun stuff. I'm glad that we get some emulator action. Actually, looks like we have somebody on VC as well. Looks like GMan's on VC. Going to be a slight advantage over emulator even. VC has just a little bit faster loading times, and that's the main difference here. So looks like we are started, and I don't see Aifa. Oh, I see a white screen.
Slight technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. We're getting there. No worries.
Yeah. So, just completely upfront, for logistical purposes, these runs are pre-recorded. We have not seen them. So, these aren't, if someone was saying, oh, this is hacked splice, it's not.
Yeah, no splice. Yeah. No splicing here. But yeah, so cool to see some VC emulator representation. Some people, it's quite a contentious topic, but I personally just love Mario 64 of all genres. And yeah, looking very forward to this one. You can definitely see the difference in the VC versus the emulator quality. I think that also seeing a slightly different capture card out of GMan here, but yeah.
And not to be disrespectful, I don't think GMan is using the capture card. Yeah, no, he's not. He's recording his TV screen.
Yeah, that's actually kind of common. Yeah, it's sort of common for, not common, but I've seen it happen a lot with VC runners for whatever reason. I mean, having a Wii is a little more accessible than like an N64 setup, for instance. So a lot of the time, like that's like almost your cheapest option because like everybody when they were a kid had a Wii, right? And no capture card needed, just point it right at the television, you're good to go. But looks like GMan stopped up on the bridge here. Lakitu give him a little ticket. He'll have a conversation, and Aifa will be headed right into Bomb on Battlefield. Looks like we're going to see two bomb clips, a bomb clip route out of these guys, or no LBLJ route, I should say. So we'll see how this one goes.
Oh, sorry, Colin. If you saw the last few runs, we were watching the LBLJ route. This is a more common route. If you ever watch like Ludwig or any of the big Twitch streamers, they'll use this route. Just avoid the LBLJ, which can be for newer players a little less consistent. And so this route involves going into the Bomb Battlefield first. I believe they'll go into Womps next, collect a few stars, and then into Cool Mountain. So we'll get to see some cool. All right, I won't make that pun. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking.
We it's
I forgot this is my stream. I can't say crap like that.
Get a little more variance in terms of the 16 star no LBLJ route. See a little bit more of the map and whatnot, which is always kind of fun. So we'll see how this Womps Fortress goes. Kind of curious to see what kind of strats we're pulling out here for both these guys. Looks like Aifa is going to be going for, looks like Owlus.
Okay.
The classic C-down emulator Owlus. And that is not going to work. A little too far to the right of the gate.
So, I was told personally that when I was, thinking of learning this, that it's just not worth it to learn Owlus. Going for the owl, it's just a little bit more consistent. But definitely props to runners. There's no shame in trying strategies out. And, even if you're not super consistent, you're never going to get better if you don't use them in runs. So,
Exactly.
3 tries is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. Good job by Aifa nailing it on the 3rd try with the triple jump, and GMan going for Wild Blue early on. So kind of a close race.
Yeah, it's you always, the thing is like some people like to send it in races and pull out all the strats, but others like to play it a bit more safe. But it looks like Aifa taking a spill, but nice back up there, a little wall kick into the sock folder setup. Love to see that. Gonna throw in the punch
totally
there.
Intentional, actually. It's a new setup.
Very swag. Excellently done.
I didn't actually realize Womp King was used in this route. I'm not super. Sorry, Collins. I'm not super familiar with the no LBLJ route. Is Womp King a normal part of it?
Yep. So basically, the stars that you're gonna see are Cannonless, the Owl Star, Wild Blue, the Womp King, and then the Tower Star. And traditionally, what you would see done is, like I said, is probably about in that order. Order doesn't really matter too much. Order doesn't matter at all on emulator or VC because there's no lag from the tower. But traditionally, when you're playing on N64, the tower creates a ton of lag. So you always want to save it for last because once the tower is loaded, you're getting a lot, like I said, a lot of excess lag if you're doing the other stars. So, yep, top of the fortress is one, and then obviously Waft King as well. So just a little fun fact for those who aren't as familiar with emulator. There's a specific star order you want. That's pretty common with a lot of the, a couple of the stages.
Looks like Saren is going to be eating a brick because GMan is in fact going for Owl Full. Using the Owl does not waste as much time as you would think. I believe it's only about 3 seconds slower if you land right on the star. So
yeah,
definitely a bit of a safer strat. And he does right now have a slight lead. But yes, GMan is in fact ahead. And now I believe, as you mentioned, Collins, Aifa is going for, wow, that was a swag jump dive, and 3 on 5. So Aifa is saying it's 5 on S64 and 3 on emulator. So that makes sense. So like Collins has been saying, the fact that this is on VC and emulator does change things a little bit. GMan entering the cool mountain. Now, Collins, what stars are gotten? Oh, I think we're going to see which stars are gotten right here. Oh.
Yep. So we're going to go wall kicks will work, and then we're going to see the baby penguin star as well. 2 very simple, pretty quick stars. Wall kicks will work is actually just super easy. Just a couple A presses and you're good to go. Baby penguin star, again, another super easy one. And that's just eliminates the need for some harder stars and whatnot. You're going to see the only real trouble you can have here is actually grabbing the penguin. Most of the time from here, it's smooth sailing. Just generally kind of just holding the analog stick in a certain direction and just go right to the mother penguin and you're good to go.
Now, one thing you guys are going to notice is where the star is going to spawn. So actually, Aifa had a little bit of trouble grabbing it because it's right in the way. For the English version, they actually fixed that and moved the star a bit further from the penguin. So that's actually exactly why they did that, because it's a little annoying to grab. And, okay, Aifa has not gotten wall kicks will work. I was confused. So he's going to go grab wall kicks will work. And looks really risky, but not too bad. And now, I don't know if this is always, but do you think GMan is going to get 8 reds? I know that's not consistent in the no LBLJ route. Some people go for it, some people do not.
Yeah, it's more of a lot of beginners won't be going for it. GMan will be here just based on the looks of things. And based off of his camera, it seems like he's actually pretty comfortable with it so far. This isn't really too hard of a strat, and for literally almost every other category, well, 70 and 120, I should say, you're having to do the start anyway. So a lot of the time, it's worth learning just to begin with. It is a little bit slower sometimes, but eventually you're going to have to learn if you want to continue with the game at any competitive or even semi-competitive level. So you're going to see GMan here is going to be grabbing normal cycle, which is actually pretty solid. He goes for the poverty movement, which actually is a little bit faster. He's actually just goes to the cheese block first, as opposed to going to the floating island first. It's actually technically a little bit faster, like I said. So looks like both of these guys are going for Dark World Reds here, and kind of a little bit close there for Aifa, and that was a bit of a YOLO long jump. Usually like to see the camera a bit better lined up, and looks like he's going to be taking the long way around. But overall, avoided the death, and good to go. Pretty much. So
after we wash this Bowser throw, maybe, spoil it. Oh, we GMan just a little bit short on that throw, so that's going to give Aifa a little bit of a chance to close the gap. But we are going into shifting Sandland. Is that correct, Collins? Or
yep, they'll be headed right there. They have two quick stars there, and well, I don't exactly know.
Okay.
Sometimes they are going to SSL for sure, but there's a couple variances in the no ABLJ route. If I had to take a wild guess based on these guys, from what I can tell, skill level and PBs, they're more than likely going to be getting 2 stars in SSL. But they could go for side hop in LOL, but we'll have to see.
So even in this category, you go into SSL, LOL, and HMC?
Mm-hmm. Yep, every time. Just okay. The amount of stars that you're doing in those stages can vary depending on your strats, whatever you choose to do. But Fair enough. Very beginner route, you're going to be getting 2 stars in SSL, and then moving on from there. Excuse me, it's actually 3 stars. It's the Talon Star. No, it's 2 stars. It's Talon Star.
Yeah, because I doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
assuming I don't think these guys are beginners at all, but in a beginner strategy, you would definitely not be going for pillarless. There's
Yeah. Pillarless actually doesn't really save time in no BLJ. Will traditional pillarless. If you do Tomopless, it saves time. But again, if you're doing no BLJ, chances are you're probably more of a beginner for the most part. That's not always the case. There are competitive no BLJ runners, obviously, but traditionally you don't see a pillarless here. You just see these two quick stars, Talon, and then again this top of the pyramid star. But nicely done so far from both these guys. Like, pretty close race. No major mistakes yet. The biggest mistake that we had seen was Aifa's Owlus mishap, but other than that, pretty solid stuff.
So now in LLL, what stars do they get? I assume Reds is pretty fast, and
Yep.
Bully and Elevator, or they don't get Elevator?
They're not going to be getting the Elevator. They're going to be getting, if I recall correctly, Reds first, and then they will be getting I believe the Bully star is the fastest after that. Or is it the Elevator star? I think it's the Elevator star.
We'll have to wait and see.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've done no BLJ, probably a couple of years. And they could actually just get one star in here and then go to HMC right away.
That is what GMan just did.
Yep.
So you grab the Toad Star, so I'm going to guess GMan is going to do the Amazing Emergency Exit and watch out for Rolling Rocks. That would be my guess, because those are the easiest fast stars I can personally think of in that stage.
Yep. And actually looks like Aifa's going to be doing the same thing, more than likely. You know,
Wait.
I'm thinking.
I'm very well. Oh, wait, I know what's going on. They're gonna jump and then you do a long jump over.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's just
confused.
Yeah, it's a more. It's actually technically going right side for emergency exit is actually faster, or it can be faster. It's just more consistently faster on the left side. But again, a lot of beginners choose to do right side just because it's a little bit easier and it's a little more safe. GMan almost had a slip up there. We kind of saw, but yeah. So we'll see.
I thought they were going for the triple jump box. I was very excited for a second, and I realized I was going like, oh my gosh, we're going for that. But
yeah, that's more
very solid by GMan right now. 1150. Now we have about a 1-star lead over Aifa, and he's going to have to do the MIPS grab. This is one of those things that no matter what skill level you are, it's just kind of a thing you got to do. There's not much, you can do the dive, which is pretty consistent. Getting through the door is simply a matter of just kind of going towards the right corner of the door and just flipping through. So,
yep, you got to line up the shadow. Actually, you'll see the MIPS as soon as the MIP shadow disappears and you see Mario's head kind of bobbing. That's actually when you're good to actually go ahead and hit that Z press there, and then you can turn around. And generally, there's a lineup for MIPS for sure. A lot of the time, it almost doesn't look like it because of the fact that these guys are so fast.
So GMan nails it. I doubt we're going to see chip clip, which is perfectly fine. And because they're on Virtual Console, I'm going to assume that it's simply going to be faster to do backstab at this point. Ooh, Aifa just out of reach of MIPS. Not sure why MIPS is not getting grabbed.
So he was actually too far to the right, or he actually had too large of an angle going to the right. He was too far over to the right. He kind of does a YOLO setup there. Like, it looked like it could have maybe worked, but not really for that first one. The second one obviously going to be successful though. But yeah, you do want to go into the right corner, and obviously for the second door you can just go right through and just line up to the right corner of the door, press Z, and you're through. But again, you have to line it up a little bit better, a little more precisely for the other door, just because of the fact that you have to actually be able to grab MIPS. So Fire C coming up for GMan. See if we hit a 0 cycle here. And again, we're not seeing any lag reduction strats because we are on VC. Kind of a low pull grab there, so 0 cycle. Yeah, 0 cycle's out of the question now, unfortunately, there after that spill. Maybe would have been possible. Maybe. Looks like GMan is kind of cruising here with a pretty solid lead.
Definitely, at this level of play, I will say that BLJs probably are going to be a big deciding factor.
Yep.
They,
BLJs are like the great equalizer when it comes to like beginner BLJ races, honestly.
we've seen runners with PBs 2 minutes better than these guys struggle on BLJ for a long time. So they are non-trivial at all. And definitely this race is not over until it's over. Aifa getting a higher pull grab. So I don't know if, I don't think with that ledge grab if Zero Cycle is going to be possible anymore, but it may have been. So GMan going for the Bowser throw. Pretty nice. Unfortunately, this is gonna have to wait here. And so about, it's crazy, Collins, that, the world record already, this is, you know what I mean? It's already happened, 1440.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, it's insane.
And
like, there's levels to this game. Always. There's always somebody who's a little bit better.
And the key thing is, I don't think people realize, like, trying to beat either of these runs in, anyone in chat right now, it would be pretty difficult. Like, these are still very solid times.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, nice. A little glitchy grab there. Not exactly, not a glitchy grab, but... Oh, wow. Very nicely done there by Aifa. That was a really close call. It's super simple to go a little bit short and then have Bowser either fall off the edge or you actually miss Bowser completely and fall off the edge. So nicely done there to back that up. That could have saved him, but again, here we go with the great equalizer, these BLJs. GMan struggling here.
Yes, and GMan, this is now his third attempt. He has not gotten it, so Aifa is definitely getting, looks like that's not going to catch. So now heading to our fifth attempt from GMan. Like I said, very difficult. I think he's got it right here, though. I think if he just keeps at it, he should clip through. There we go. So gets through there. That might seal the deal for GMan. But Aifa to come back, or Aifa, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce his name.
That's a wonky angle.
He might go into Wet Dry World. If I would try again.
Wow, we're seeing pause buffered BLJs.
Aifa.
Unbelievable. Aifa with a pause buffered BLJ. I have not seen that since Sarah Mew did it years ago. Wow. Very
rare was, by the way, Collins, very close. Oh, wow. Yo, these are great. This is great. I love this.
Wow. Oh, that's all right. Just hold down and press A. Just gotta press A twice. There we go. He's up in there.
I've never seen that happen.
Yeah, there's an invis wall right there, and to mitigate that, you have to just hold down, press A, and you'll actually pass it without too much of an issue.
We're going for these are the strats I see. The streamers go for the pull grab. I actually struggle with that, let alone the triple jump. A
lot of practice. A lot of practice to get that movement down for sure.
Very tricky, and the G-Man heading into Bowser. The Bowser throws not trivial though. These throws can be quite.
Oh, placebo punch.
Oh my gosh!
Triple jump wall kick. Nicely done.
Just absolutely nails it. That is going to help out tremendously.
Oh,
G-Man looks like he does get the hit. Very forgiving hitbox on the first mine. That looks like it's going to hit. And just one more needed for G-Man. It's going to be tough for Aifa to come back. And G-Man seals game one. But this was a pretty close match. Very close match. As you said, Collins, not super major mistakes made by either party. Pretty close to both their PBs, to be quite honest with you. 1811 for G-Man, and if Aifa nails these, he could get an 1830, which is really good.
Yeah, super solid. I mean, if you're playing within like a minute of your PB in a race, I mean, you're doing pretty well. So, very solid. And in all honesty, what it really came down to, it seems like, was that Owless mishap. Like that played a lot bigger of a factor, and that's something to think about. Is like, if you're Aifa, do you go for that? Like, if you mess it up your first race, do you go for it again, or are you confident enough in your strats and your, are you confident enough in your strats to kind of try it again and say, hey, that was just a fluke, or do you go, hey, I'm going to back off this strat because it's been causing me issues? So kind of just you know, there's strategy that goes into these races too. It's not just, you know, raw ability. There's a lot of thinking that comes with it.
The problem is, and Saren brought this up in our last match, if you go to owl strats and you haven't practiced them, it might be worse, you know? Like you can easily miss the cage if you're not used to using the owl properly, or miss the start. So, you know, there is a calculus there. If you've practiced owlless the whole time, do you move off it even though you struggled in one game, or you just say, well, that was a fluke, I'm gonna nail it first time? I always do.
Yep. And, you know, sometimes like the thing is too is like there have been a lot of tournaments where I've commentated you know, consistently throughout these matches and like throughout the tournament rather, and there are runners that switch up the strats in order to play it safe, and it actually ends up kind of biting them because, you know, while it sure is like quote unquote easier, they still haven't practiced that strat as much. That's a strat that they haven't probably done in a long time. If you're not doing it in runs, you probably don't practice it too frequently, especially if you consider it to be a quote unquote easier strat. So we've seen people lose races because of strats that they went for that they thought were easier that ended up kind of costing them. So it's interesting. There's a lot of strategy.
All right, we're getting a bit of a desync here. So, all right, we're just gonna sync up everything right now. Thankfully, we have behind the scenes tech support to sync everything up and make sure. So something else I noticed is that Aifa is playing on a Japanese version of the game, while GMan is playing on an English version of the game. I don't remember, you know, it's been so long. Siglemic was the last big VC player I really watched. Sig, did he play, Collins, did he play on English or Japanese?
Siglemic?
Yeah.
So Siglemic actually was part of that crew that started using, well, because they didn't use the Japanese game at the beginning. So now his records now are in JP, but he used to run on WeVC, which was obviously the English version of that. That's a whole like bit of lore where
VC is always English. You can't play on JP because it's Shindo. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming, you know, because I play randomizer, you couldn't just put a WAD file of the Japanese version. That would obviously not be allowed on the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's not leaderboard legal, correct? Well, no, that's that's like, I don't think, I mean, I'm a leaderboard moderator. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that, to be honest with you. It's a good question though. I don't think so, because well, no, it has to be original hardware, so it's not allowed.
All right. So Saren is saying not allowed.
Yeah. Not allowed.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Which like it makes sense because, like, you know, no, like, because it's not a bad line of thinking. Like Super Mario Sunshine does that. They use like a hacked, you know, they used a hack file.
Yes.
where they skip cutscenes, right? So you'd think like, oh, like similarly enough, I could do that for the Wii, right? Well, no, you have to play on an originally released piece of hardware, or you know, you have to play an original release basically, or something that perfectly emulates it. I.e.,
not
like,
to take away from this run, but at this point with the virtual console closing, you actually cannot legally get any kind of, you know, file anymore if you're just starting right now. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. Let's just all right, that's pretty hype for Aifa. Misses it the first run, nails it the second run. Love to see it. Fortunately, GMan does mess up. I think he went for sock boulder. So, all right. Oh, grabbed the pull right there. Sorry, Collins. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. It's just a bit of speedrunning politics. It is really this whole thing that's been debated for years. Like, what do you allow on the leaderboard? You know, and the thing with Siglemic too, like running on VC, you know, it was this big thing with you know, the JP runners. Obviously, theirs was Shindo, so like they didn't have access to like the things that the US runners had access to, right? So it's like, was it really fair for these guys to, you know, be competitive while having versions that were completely different in terms of load times, in terms of you know, strats that you could do and everything like that. So it's just this big, you know, very contentious when it comes to the Wii VC EMU versus console argument. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I say, hey, like, if you whatever gets more people to play the game, right? Whatever gets more people to be involved with speedrunning. If that's WeVC, if that's CereMu being world record holder for the PlayStation Vita or whatever he has like the world record for like PlayStation Vita 16 star. Whatever gets you playing the game, right? PSP.
And
whatever gets you playing the game.
Speaking of that, like that's where Aifa comes in. He's playing on emulator. Emulator, assuming you were able to get the file in a legal manner, is one of the easiest ways to play it. The N64s are getting rarer. They're breaking. Hard to get replacements. They don't make new ones. There will come a time where that's all that's going to happen, and I wonder what will happen if strats will change. But we saw there, both of them, I believe, at this point have gotten cannonless, and it's a very close race at this point. GMan going for Tower Star, which, as you mentioned, Collins, they can go for earlier because they're not playing on N64. Mm-hmm. Also, don't have to deal with the N64 analog stick.
Yeah, well, the thing is I don't know if you ever tried to... Wait, you play an emulator, yeah. So the dead zone for the WeVC is crazy different.
It is crazy.
Like it feels like I used to run for a brief amount of time, Ocarina of Time, and I remember trying to hold ESS position.
Movement from Aifa. Sorry,
it was very good. Yeah, but running on WeVC with no ESS adapter, trying to hold ESS angles or like precise angles, like dead zone's wacky. So sometimes like I'm like, is it really like? Sure, you're not necessarily having to pay for. Yeah, you're not having to pay for new controllers all the time like you do with N64, but you also have to.
Also, to keep on this topic, two things. One, neck and neck run, really hype as they go into wall kicks or work. We saw, I believe, Aifa went for Penguin first, and GMan last time went for wall kicks first, so it's going to be a bit of a desync. But the other thing is, Aifa mentioned in chat, he used the Switch Pro controller. So he is a monster. No, I'm kidding. I love the Switch Pro controller as a Nintendo controller, but it is of the big three, it's actually my least favorite. So good on you, Aifa, for using Switch Pro. I'm an Xbox controller guy all the way. But yeah, Aifa says can't use the Xbox. One of the most fun conversations to have with emulator runners is which controller do you use? And as someone who plays on emulator, it is a heated conversation. People feel very strongly.
I feel like a lot of my friends use Xbox. I know, like, for instance, JMill is a really good... well, JMill actually plays on console now, but for a long time ran on emulator. Same thing with Triforce TK.
Yeah, I was going to say Triforce using Xbox. Have you seen Triforce's controller? Not to get too off topic. That controller has seen better days.
Yeah, TK. Yeah, TK, he sends it. Like, kid's just a nut for sure, and him and JMill are tight too, so they're always running with each other on emulator and stuff. And but JMill swags out and gets like insanely nice Xbox controllers and stuff. They're actually really cool. That's like the only reason I'd be like even consider it, because I'm like, man, you can get some pretty cool looking Xbox controllers if you're playing an emulator. And then you have runners like Aussie Adam who are playing an emulator who use a Rathnet adapter with an OEM. So yeah. There's a lot of decisions to be made. It's something to definitely think about if you're running an emulator. What are you most comfortable with?
So the rivalry is getting real in chat. GMan talking about how he uses a Switch Wii Classic Controller Pro. That's what I use when I play on VC. VC actually, I believe you would know this, Collins, is slightly faster than an emulator. I don't know why that is.
It's the load times that are faster.
It's the load times. Fair enough. I think it's also important to note, as GMan unfortunately doesn't get that triple jump, but Aifa gets hit by that amp as they go for red coins, is that, oh god, completely lost my train of thought, having a moment there. There was something I was going to say, which is that, oh yeah, it's not just any version of the emulator that can be used, it's a specific legacy version of Project 64 to keep things consistent. So we should mention, we talk about emulator, there are very specific settings that I can tell you just from looking that Aifa is probably using, just because there are actual visual differences.
If I had seen the reset, I could tell you whether or not Aifa was using P64 1.6.
Yeah, no, I can tell just from the graphics it's P64 1.6.
Yeah, once you put like approve like 100 million runs on the leaderboard. I mean, the most common category is on LBLJ and emulator, more than likely. You can just pretty much tell right away like what platform someone's using.
Yeah, it's definitely so. By the way, I don't want to take away from this run. Really, really close, and uses Glide 64. I wish I could get that to work for me. I have to use Jabbo, which is I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate in chat for that. But Aifa is heading down to basement in with a slight lead. Yeah, Saren is not pleased I use Jabbo. GMan heading downstairs as well. Yeah,
Pretty tight race so far.
It's a really, really good race. Exciting to see what's it called. You know, downstairs, the stars are very exciting, very fast-paced stars to see them come into play here. Oftentimes we get a big lead, so we're gonna get. Oh, didn't fall in the center of the quicksand. Pretty good, and Shy Guy full is nailed. So Aifa is going to keep his lead going into, well, hopefully going into Lethal Lava Land for him. And G-Man also looks like he's going to nail Shy Guy. And really exciting match, actually.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we have, you know, at this level, Mips is a big run killer. And then you have, obviously, Fire Sea. And then to top it all off, Bits. So it's kind of just, you know, honestly, in my opinion, like 16-star no LJ is kind of basically autopilot until you get to Mips, essentially. Like, when you're doing it, like when you start to become a little more advanced in terms of like your movement and whatnot and your consistency, like you're getting runs into Mips every single time.
I thought G-Man may fall into the pyramid there. That would not be good. But does not, and a little bit of a bigger lead now for Aifa. So we got, by the way, everyone's Twitch in chat, so go follow G-Man, Aifa, or Colin. Colin, do you stream?
I used to quite a bit, not as much anymore.
Yeah, still follow him. You never know. All right, so Toadstar right off the bat for Aifa. I have actually yet to Aifa getting falling notification while watching, so you cool cats are doing a good job. Awesome to follow these runners, really exciting. You never know who's going to be the next big thing, by the way, so always good to give these runners a shot. Watch their streams, and couldn't be some great stuff. That actually, wow, he nailed that left side triple jump. Very, very good movement right there from Aifa. G-Man just now getting into HMC, and I believe, if I recall correctly, he also streams Super Mario, which is a really good speed game, even though I hated that game casually. It's a really good speed game. Just missing the jump. Aifa going for watch out for rolling rocks. The rocks look to be cooperating. Wow, great rock luck. And so he is about to go to Mips. Pretty solid lead right now, but as Collins was saying, Mips is a bit of a sticking point. And G-Man says he plays mostly Mario Odyssey, which is probably one of the most popular speed games ever. So yeah, dropped them both a follow. And unfortunately, Aifa, I think he was going for the dive there, but backs it up. That's what I do.
Really nice. It's a really nice backup. There's one backup that's like faster than that, but it's a lot more advanced, and you really don't see it too frequently because, again, high-level players aren't really continuing runs if they miss the Mips grab.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool, and you can see Aifa here again with like this kind of YOLO setup for this Mips. I would really recommend looking up a tutorial for this. Again, just that angle is too harsh, and he grabs it there, but it's a little bit lucky. It's just a YOLO setup at that point, and I mean, hey, sometimes he's gonna lose Mips. Does he? Oh, he doesn't.
No, he got it.
Oof.
I could see Mips. That is. I mean, in a race, I don't really know. I don't know. What would you do?
You have to reload the basement again, so you'd have to go upstairs and then go back downstairs through the basement door. It's a huge time loss.
It is a massive time loss. You have to go on a stage, like, you know what I mean? It's not like there's a stage close by to enter real quick.
Oh no, you have to completely reload the basement. So like you'd have to like go upstairs and then like I don't know if you have to necessarily go upstairs, but you definitely have to leave and then come back.
So, Aifa, he just nails the side flip dive. Oh, I do that all the time, trying to. So it is slightly faster, for those of you who wonder why people ground pound. It's slightly faster in the star animation, but you sometimes miss it, which is not the biggest deal. And neck and neck right now, it's going to come down to, they don't go for pole glitch, as we saw. They're going to go for that wall jump or the jump off that, I don't know what it's called, but he just misses it. He's going to go for the back up there. That's what I go for, the booty bounce. And I assume that means he's going to have to wait for the rising platform. GMan does nail it. Higher than he hit last time. Last time he was pretty low, so he may get zero cycle here. I don't know, Collins. Is it possible? Could he get zero cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely on the table. He's just going to have to triple. No, it was a little too slow at the beginning, unfortunately.
That is, by the way... Oh, sorry, Collins. That is actually, when you screw that up, you do lose momentum and you just slide down, which is annoying, but still neck and neck. Aifa entering Bowser 2, and this is... Yeah, he got the dusty rollout. So like I said, you lose a little bit of momentum, you slide down. Very frustrating. But let's see if Aifa can nail the Bowser throw. Gotta wait till it completely goes still, and got it.
That was pretty close.
Speaking of Wii U Virtual Console is not recommended for this game.
Very close one there for Aifa. That was that's a very punishing throw to miss. You have to wait for the the stage to settle again. You can fall off and die, and a lot of the time, if you're if you're doing the more beginner strat, you're only on 2 slices of the pie.
Now, this is one of the closest matches I've commentated yet, so very exciting. Aifa with a slight lead. Obviously needs to win this one because it is 1-0 GMan right now. And we will see. He went for these really sick pause BLJ strats.
Yeah, these pause buffer BLJs. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about pause buffer BLJs.
GMan absolutely nails the first set of BLJs. All right, GMan now with a slight lead, but he messes up the second set of BLJs, at least initially. I think he's got it right there. So GMan with a slight lead, but Aifa, if you remember correctly, went for the more advanced... Oh, sorry, Colin.
That was crazy. That pause buffer just clicked right away. Insane.
All right, it's going to come down to Bowser in the sky. Always, by the way, as a kid, thought this was the Dark World, and the other one was the sky, so... wasn't... Dark World feels more like, final bossy than the sky, but...
GMan's cruising through bits right now. This is excellent.
Actually, yeah, he is... Oh, thought he might be going for the triple jump, but he's once again going for pole strats. Not wasting that much time to go for. Aifa probably going to go for... Oh, wait. Yep, he's going to go for it again, and he nails it again. So this is neck and neck. It's all going to come down to Bowser throws, guys. Will Aifa be able to make a comeback, or will GMan... Oh, it just misses the elevator, so that's going to give GMan a little bit more leeway on these throws. Probably can miss even 2 throws at this point, but it's going to be pretty close. So, grabs the tail, gets the spin, looks good. That is throw 1. Second throw by GMan, finds the mine or whatever, and he gets it. Didn't know if he was going to. Final throw from GMan. Aifa nails throw 1. GMan just wide left. That is going to give Aifa a little bit of a chance to come back. Got to get that throw off, and he nails throw 2, but Aifa's right there. Oh no, he misses. Oh, this is going to be close. Bowser is dancing. Aifa has Bowser. Can he nail the throw? And oh my goodness. I can't believe it. At the end of the day, Aifa able to clutch out the victory. It's all going to come down to grabbing the star. Don't go the wrong way. I've seen that once before. And there we go.
Wow. That actually might be a retime.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I don't know if Saren has gone ahead and already done a retime, but yeah, I think that would require one because in terms of it looks like Aifa won, but you never know. You never know.
All right, so the retime seems to have Aifa actually a little bit more ahead because these are synced up. So there is apparently a 2-second difference between the two. So not quite as close as it looked, but
still pretty close.
Still very close. It looked like a matter of a half a second versus 2, but really awesome. All right, there now. This is where you see we're syncing up the two runs together. We're going to a match 3. We're going to a match 3 right now. So syncing up the resets is what is going to happen right now. Holy mackerel! We have to find more things to talk about, Collins.
Mario.
Oh, I can talk forever about Mario.
No, not me. I'm a quiet guy. I never know what to say, man. I just.
Yeah, you seem a bit shy.
Yeah, very. All right. So, who will win? I think both players have missed Lakitu skip thus far, so that's going to be definitely something that can come into play even early on. There are just very exciting. Now, I got to ask you this, at Collins. The reset on VC, it includes that you need classic controller. Does that not add a little, like, even with that, it's still faster?
Still, yeah, still like substantially faster than console, still faster than emulator.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you actually get the Mario 64 logo at like 2.5 seconds or so, compared to like
GMan missing
emulator.
Lakitu.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's been an 8-second time loss there, but again, we've seen that. I don't know, but we have seen that this race, these guys are like, every kind of little time loss has been counting. It's been significant, whether or not it was a missed Alice or a missed Lakitu skip or whatever have you, like, these little time losses have been adding up, and I would say these guys are pretty comparably skilled, in my opinion. We're seeing very similar times out of both of them, very close races, so it's going to come down to who just plays a little more consistently at this point.
The funny thing is, in terms of who's using more advanced strats, it actually, I would say, would be Aifa. GMan seems to be going for more quote-unquote beginner strats, and I think this is where, a philosophy, I call it the Nindide philosophy, comes into play. Do you go for the more advanced strats even if they're less consistent, or do you go for a bit safer strats and try and grind them and get your PD down? There's no clear answer to what is the better way of speedrunning, but that's, at least from watching these guys play, that has been my at least opinion of what I've seen from both of them.
Yeah, and like I said, races are a completely different game, right? Like, you don't know whether or not, you don't know exactly what's going to be successful. You can't gauge your consistency perfectly, but nicely done there, Alice, by Aifa. And, I guess that one mishap didn't really set him back. He just decided to keep going for it, which is really cool. And again, that's like that Ouija, like you were saying, Luigi, like Nindide sort of stuff where you're sending it, right? Like, you have like two types of runners. You got like your Ouigas and you have like your Punkays. Like Punkay,
yeah,
like
Punkay
race scenario. I mean, he's straight up going for like, he's still incredibly fast at the game, but he's not going for things that are, say as difficult as like Paracusia or Luigi and Nindide are going for. So kind of depends on your mentality, your philosophy going into a race. I personally, whenever I used to race or do marathon runs, I always kept it consistent. I like to keep it consistent in general. I think that's where I lean more, like 120.
By the way, neck. Sorry to interrupt you, Colin.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty close race here. So it's fun. Like I said, these guys are very comparably skilled, but we're seeing one person go for a little more risky stuff, and we're seeing one person go for more consistent. So you never really know what's going to happen when it comes to that. But Aifa had a missed Alice, or excuse me, Canalus earlier, so it gets it on that try. So no big deal.
Yeah, no, like you brought up Puncation. Like Puncation, it's part of why he doesn't get world records too much, but it's always a top 5 runner or so because he masters the safe strats, and so he can get runs deeper and deeper and deeper, far more than guys like Liam or Simply or Cheese. But if you don't use those risky strats, it is sometimes a lot harder to get those crazy runs. Like Liam was on pace for like he had some crazy paces recently. So
yeah,
definitely a difference in philosophy.
For sure. And, Punke was on PB Pace the other day too, and it's just at that level, so much goes into it. So much goes into it. RNG plays a huge factor. Like, Cheese had incredible RNG during that world record, the most recent one. I mean, obviously not to take away from it, but there's just so much. Like, your SL100,
though, right?
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
But Cheese had like legitimately like really, really good RNG, which like, of course, like that's gonna benefit you. But like think about it, like you have a bad SL100, you have bad SL100 RNG, like that can like lose you like a substantial amount of time. So
lose
you like
10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like something to consider too. But like, and again, like depending on what category you're running, like you're in 16 star, really not that much RNG. So you can kind of figure out whether or not you want to be a little more crazy with your strats or if you want to be a little more reserved. So it's a big mentality thing, and the more you race, the better you get. It's like anything else. It's like you practice. The more you do races, and the more you practice them, like the more comfortable you'll get, and you'll be able to determine your style and what you like to do as a racer and a runner.
By the way, crazy. They are still so close. Now, I have seen, I guess it's even more beginner strat than what GMan's going for, landing a little lower and doing a somersault and wall kicking. That I guess is a slower strat. I've seen a lot of runners do that who use no LBLJ routes.
Yeah, there's actually a couple different strats for this one. For wall kicks will work. Obviously, you have your pro wall kicks. You have like your dive rollout, backflip, wall kick, jump dive sort of thing. There's an intermediate strat where it's almost the same thing except you just mash A instead. And you don't get as large of a wall kick, but it's a little bit faster. And then you have what these guys are doing. Aifa cuts it a little bit close, in my opinion, with that kick. But I mean, it works. So there's a lot of different strats for wall kicks to work, and the differences between like 9 minutes or 8 seconds and like 15, 13, 14, 15 seconds. So like ultimately not a huge difference. So a lot of people just elect to go ahead and learn the other one, but wow, almost tied to the frame here as we.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Unfortunately, GMan got his booty burned and then unfortunately took a death. So that's actually a pretty substantial gain for Aifa, who was in the lead, didn't grab the penguin so cleanly, so took a bit of a loss there. And now with that death has a pretty substantial lead, at least in the context of this match. They've been so close, so that death by GMan may be the one mistake that could help Aifa seal this comeback victory, but let's not, there's so much that could happen.
Oh,
the switch is, the switch is one of the hardest parts. I've seen every 120 star runner burn on the switch. That's very common, so it is extremely hard.
That's the first big Dark World mistake we had seen from these guys. And again, Dark World is such a huge, substantial part of this run. Your Bowser stages are incredibly important. Like you need really great movement for them, and the less mistakes, the better. Obviously, taking a death at the beginning there is probably the best mistake to make if you're gonna take a death there, better than on the the lone platform. But we're gonna see the time difference there. Aifa is definitely coming back here, so.
Now, there is something I want to bring up as somebody stuck to Bowser throws. They are easier on N64 because of the notches. The notches do help you sort of line them up, I find, a little bit better than on, Wii Pro or, so his hand slipped off, which makes sense. I find the more, like, if there's no notches to any of the Pro controllers that, Xbox, Switch. So that may be a preference thing, but I do find the Wii and the Hori easier. Wii Pro has notches. I don't know. N64, I like the notches for Bowser throws personally, but might be a me thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using Hori, obviously, if you're using OEM, like throwing on OEM feels horrible. It feels horrible.
I mean, a lot of people use GameCube
Yep.
for emulator. I don't for a bunch of reasons, but yeah, it's another option. Okay, so Aifa is a pretty substantial lead. Unfortunately, he's not
gonna go
going
for
to. Oh, I guess
for
he
a
thought
poverty
mid as well.
pillarless.
That would have been pretty funny. Accidental pillarless. That would have been pretty sick. Oh no, GMan does not hit the fly guy. I'm assuming that almost died there. I'm assuming that means he has to do the pyramid, or is he gonna climb up and try to get Klepto that way? Ooh, what's Alright, this is a bit of a not great for GMan right now. Because Aifa has finished SSL. Well, 2 seconds. I have seen someone not jump and just fall into the quicksand, but he is in fact finished.
Yep. You can hold A there and buffer.
What did I say? Yeah, I assume, like, again, you know, yeah, like, the thing is, a lot of these runners, I should mention, can do a lot of these harder strats. It's just how consistent you are and whether you feel confident doing it in a race setting.
Yep.
And, yeah, Collins has been talking about that as well. Unfortunately, booty burn on the puzzle can make it a little more annoying, but still, it's allowed GMan a little bit back into this race, but still a substantial lead for Aifa right now. At least, again, in the context of this match. Collins, what are you thinking? I've been talking too much.
So, you know, it's interesting. Again, we're seeing like these little mistakes kind of adding up here and there. Obviously, some of them are a bit bigger, like that issue with the fly guy. But I think what it comes down to is like both these guys. You know, I'm not exactly sure how new they are to the game, but you can tell like they're still kind of getting the hang of things. So a lot of it, and you have to think too, a lot of it is nerves, right? Like, you know, this is your one opportunity you're getting to advance in the, you know what I mean, to do well, right? So a lot of stuff, you know, plays into account here, but nicely done. Left side wall kicks left side emergency exit by Aifa. Like I said, like a lot of cool strats being busted out for sure, and that pays dividends, right? Like if you're gonna stick with this game in the long run, you're gonna eventually learn those strats. So why not just do it a little bit earlier? You know, seems to be paying off for Aifa at least.
Yeah, and again, this is why I always say PBs are kind of meaningless. I mean, obviously, if someone has Suiji's PB versus like mine would be a huge difference. But when we're talking about like 20 seconds in a race context, that's nothing. You know, I don't see the significant advantage to have a 20-second better PB in a race. No. It's all about who's more consistent on any given run versus who can string those tricks together in a godlike run.
Sure. Absolutely. I prefer consistency. That's probably just because I've been friends with Punke for a long time and I like his play style. But it's more comfy that way. I'd rather go into a star knowing like, okay, like I've done this 100 million times. Like it's a consistent strat. I'm super comfortable with it. Like I like that feeling. Nice MIPS clip there from Aifa.
Very nice MIPS clip.
A little bit faster than last time.
I'd like to pretend like I'm like that, but I'm not. I'm more like Nindide. I like going for the craziest, dumbest strats I can and just, you know, failing it a million times until it becomes somewhat consistent. It just, I don't know what it is. I feel like if I'm not doing like, you know, not even the hardest strats, but let's say the second hardest strats, I'm not really trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's of everyone. It's just it's a personal preference, right? It's like, how do you enjoy speedrunning's a game, right? How do you enjoy playing the game?
Exactly.
And it really does come down to preference. Nice clip by GMan. But Aifa was still a pretty big lead right now. He's already getting to the sub, so we're probably going to see a side flip dive right here. Yeah, we got that side flip dive. A little bit of dust, but no problem there. And once again, missed the ground pound, but that's all right. So Aifa with a bit of a lead right now. It's gonna, you know, if he can get zero cycle, that is going to be a big thing right now. So I guess the big question is, can he get zero cycle? Obviously, it's what they're both going for right here. And it's going to come down to this. Unfortunately, I think that should negate that possibility.
Yep, that was you know, you can see what his thought process was there, but unfortunately just didn't really quite execute the way that he was hoping to. But again, from what we've seen, GMan hasn't been hitting zero cycle either, so this isn't really necessarily a run killer, so to speak. But just one of those things. It's a bit unfortunate. You're kind of kicking yourself at the end of Fire Sea here when you're missing that. But I mean, you do have to play like Zero Cycle. It's not completely free, especially at this level. You got to play pretty decently.
Well, if GMan's on pace for it, if he can nail everything, that will help him get a little bit back into this game. But Aifa's still with a significant lead. GMan came very close last time to getting it, and if he gets the he just... I don't know if he should have gone for it. He held up at the last second, so...
His angle was
hard to say whether that was the right call.
It was a little too far to the right there. You want to be more straight on when you do that triple jump so you can just get the wall kick. Again, like I think GMan had a lot of speed, just wasn't exactly sure what to do with it there. Trust me, that happens like at any level. Sometimes you'll be like, man, I'm flying. What do I do? you get double wall kick or double firsties at the end of Dark World, and you're like, I'm going too fast. Like, is this allowed?
All right, now comes the moment of truth. It is the great rubber band in all of 16 star at every level. The BLJs. Aifa uses pause strats. GMan doesn't.
Very curious to see how this one's gonna pan out.
All right. He pauses. Oh man, I think he got it. Yeah.
I've never seen anybody be that consistent with pause buffered BLJs. Sorry, Saren. never. I've never seen that.
All right. Ooh, it's a bit of... Is that angle... All right.
I just can't believe it. I can't. Like, no one does that.
So, by the way, you'd rather be too far right than far left. You don't want to go into wet dry.
Yeah.
You know, go watch clips on YouTube. I think there's a clip with like 1 million views of someone doing that. It's pretty funny.
Oh, every single player that just starts playing this game, the first time they do it, they all go to the Discord and they go, "Oh my god, I think I found a new glitch." While doing BLJs.
Skip guys.
Yeah, they're like, "Did you go into a dry world? How'd you know?" Yeah, we know about it.
This game is all right. So that punch I thought was a mistake. That seems to be Aifa's strategy. That punch seems to be lining him up perfectly.
It actually doesn't do anything. It's called the placebo punch. You'll hear Parapucia talk about it. The setup, it doesn't really do anything additionally for the setup. They call it the placebo punch. You can actually just go ahead and
funny.
you can go ahead and just either just jump or just buffer kick jump or not buffer kick jump. You can either just kick and jump up from there.
So I don't want to jinx anything, but Aifa's on pace for a PB.
Yeah, this is absolutely PB pace. We'll see if we can hit these other two throws.
He's on pace for a big PB.
That should hit.
Oh my god. He might beat GMan's PB. No. Maybe close. All right.
Not quite, but that's going to be a PB. That'll be about a 17:35 maybe. 18. Let's see if my mod skills are anywhere close to right.
No, I said 28. I was wrong. It's going to be about 32, it seems.
33. Excellently done there,
not something you don't see every day.
Yeah, PB in a race. That's excellent. And 17:33, pretty respectable time. Nicely done, and especially to win it, right? Like, insane. What a way to clutch it out.
His timer said 32.92 when he timed it. So it would be at 17:32 is how most people talk about it, but we're rounding to the second. That is tough for GMan. That's tough, This guy, you have a solid run and this guy gets 8 seconds off your PB. That's rough, man. But
honestly, like, I'd rather my opponent PB in a race because it's like, hey, I did as well as I could, right? Like my opponent played better than they've ever played before, ever. I can settle with that more than I can settle with a regular loss. So
that's crazy. I can't believe he got a PB. That's nuts. I mean, hey, I could see Aifa really based on his skill from what we've seen. I don't think this is his last PB. I could see he's gonna be bringing that time down. A sub 17 is not too far off for this guy. I'm telling you. He has a lot of the strats down. It's just nailing a lot of them. Like we've seen across 3 of his runs, doing a lot of tricks, and it's just about getting them consistently. But That's impressive. Kudos.
Yeah, good job to both these guys today too, right? Fun little race. Always love to see a little fun MU VC action. So,
Saren, change the display. We gotta put his new PV on. But honestly, GMan played really well. Really good play. Unfortunately, missed a couple Bowser throws in the end, but really, really solid race. Cool strats used. Awesome run. Collins, you were awesome. So much insight into like not just these races, but Mario 64 in general. So thank you so very much. I'm so appreciative that you were here.
Yeah, pleasure.
And I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing now.
Well, I don't know if there's another race after this or what, but again, just shout out to Urban Arts and all the people over there. Thanks for hosting this, or thanks to Saren for hosting. Thanks for Urban Arts for sponsoring. We really appreciate you guys. Excellent tournament being run here, and looks like there is another match. So awesome stuff. I'm not exactly sure who's up, but
I don't know either.
There's Aifa. What's up? What's up, buddy?
Yo, congrats!
Thank you.
Yeah, man, excellently done. I mean, what are you thinking? Like, how does that feel? Like, how did you feel like you were gonna PB when you went into this race?
I woke up 20 minutes before the race with no practice. I forgot the race was even going on. Then I was told, "Hey, GMan's dropping out pre-recorded race," and I was like, "Wait a minute! Oh shit!" So I went and pre-recorded it, and race 3, I guess, just fell in my favor because the hardest part of this was honestly hiding my PB from people for 2 days.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. Yeah.
In that time, I did actually manage to get another relatively close time. I got a 17:50.
Nice.
The next day, so yesterday. So I do think another PB is coming soon. I've been streaming, trying to get a 16.
Excellent, man.
Yeah, I feel like that's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is that I take a lot of breaks from this game.
That's fair.
I'll come in, I'll play it for, then I'll be like I'm bored, and then I'll take a 3-month break, and then I'll come back. So I've been playing this game since 2019 now, I think March 2019. So exactly 3 years, I believe I started March 19th or something.
Wow. Well, happy anniversary. So thanks so much, Aifa. Appreciate it, man. And again, congrats on the W here. And it looks like we have Tobith D and Sonic Gordon coming up next. So excellent stuff. Super excited to see some more action going on. High stakes match. Love to see it. So again, Aifa, congrats on your win, buddy. And J Rose, thanks so much for hopping in the booth here with me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Nice to be here with you. Thank you, Collins. Thank you, Saren, and thank you, Aifa, for the great match. And thank you, GMan. And that's all for me.
Yep. We'll catch you guys later, and make sure to stick around for the next match.